Now, that is a subject matter. What would be the theme of the poem? The theme of a poem is love and death. Some of you said that the tone of the poem is colloquial, as the speaker addresses his beloved informally. No longer mourn for me when I am dead. Then you shall hear the sterling sound bell give warning to the world that I'm fled from this vile world with vilest worms to dwell. The first quatrain, because remember quatrain is a 4-line stanza, the speaker tells the beloved that when she gets to know that he has died and that he has left this vile world, then he should forget her. She should stop mourning him. And then second quatrain says, nay, if you read this line, remember not the hand that writ it, for I love you so that I in your sweet thoughts could be forgot, if thinking on me should make you woe. And it says, when you read these lines, then if reading these lines reminds you of the person who wrote them, and that makes you sad, please forget me. In the third quatrain says, when I perhaps compounded am with clay, do not so much as my poor name rehearse, but let your love even with my life decay. And in the last quatrain, he says that when he's already dissolved into earth, because he's going to be buried, he should let her love decay in the same way that her corpse will decay when compounded with clay. And the last couplet is a rhyming couplet that somehow summarizes everything that has been said before. It says, unless the wise word should look into your moan and mock you with me after I'm gone. So he emphasizes what he has said before, you should forget me. But on top of that, on top of the fact that you will suffer, the world will laugh at you. And he doesn't want to be hurt, to be mocked when he's gone. All right? Okay. Next poem is also a sonnet by Shakespeare that some of you have chosen. And it is, the name is, let me see, I cannot find it. Miracles, shall I compare thee? No longer mourn. Well, it's poet 116, and this is a sonnet about love and what it is like for the speaker, and what is it like for the speaker. So the speaker is trying to define what love is, and he refers to the He refers to the fact that love is never altered by time. So in a way, we can say that the theme of the poem is the unchanging true love. Pay attention to the last couplet as it reinforces the speaker's understanding of what true love is, as he says that if what he has just said in the first quatrains is not true, then he never existed and he never wrote the poem we are reading, which is impossible because Shakespeare did exist and we are reading the sonnet, right? I still cannot find the poem in the booklet. I found it. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediment. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark. So, in a way, he's comparing love with a mark that can never be removed. If it is true love, then it will never disappear in someone's heart. That looks on tempest as is never shaken. So it's a love that is strong, that even when you go through difficult times, it is not alter. It is a start to every wandering bark. True love is a sort of guide for those who have it, whose worth unknown, although his height be taken. Love's no time's full, so love does not change through time. Though rosy lips and cheeks, with his bending sickle compass come. So the idea that even if you fall in love when you are young, the rosy lips and cheeks refer to youth. True love does not change when you grow old. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never read, nor no man ever loved. All right. Another poem that many of you chose and which I love is Homecoming by Martha Collins. This is also, I would say, a feminist poem because Homecoming is about a man, the subject matter, is about a man that comes back home and his wife has changed. After being alone for so long, she's not willing to go back to her role as a dutiful and submissive wife. When she says, "But I'm not quite ready to serve you dinners, to pour your wines," but you can't conceive of the more extreme measures I thought of taking, like pounding stakes in the floor and stretching ropes to inform you. This or that is mine. So after waiting for so long, the woman has got used to living on her own and she doesn't want to give up her newly acquired freedom, let's say. One of your classmates, Agustina, makes an excellent analysis of the uses of imperatives and imperative verbs and verb tenses, present and future, when the speaker addresses her husband, because the choices made by the author help convey that things have changed, the same as the speaker's attitude toward her husband and marital life, and that she's not willing to go back to the ways they were used to in the past. The intertext of the poem is the story of Ulysses that comes back from the war against Troy after 20 years and finds Penelope waiting for him. Meanwhile, while he has been away, Penelope has had lots of suitors that wanted to marry her, and she has always answered them that as long as she was knitting, she would wait for Ulysses to come back. But when Ulysses comes back, if that is the intertext, when the husband comes back, she realizes that she, in fact, actually enjoys being on her own. So, in a way, we can say that the poem by Martha Collins is a rewriting from a feminist point of view of the Ulysses legend, right? Okay. Another poem that some of you chose is Miracles by Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman is an American poet, and he's the American poet that is the most anthologized poet in American literature. What is interesting about this poem is the use of cataloging or enumeration and the use of rhetorical questions. The speaker of a poem opens with a rhetorical question. Why? Who makes much of a miracle? But he also finishes the poem with another question, rhetorical question. What stranger miracles are there? What is the effect of that? It leaves the question open to the reader to keep on thinking about miracles. As I said before, he makes use of cataloging and enumeration together with anaphora, which is a repetition of the same word or words in initial position in successive lines. When he asks, who makes much of a miracle, whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my side or wade with naked feet or stand under the trees or talk by day, or sit by table, and so on. Most of the examples he gives are visual images or auditory images that refer to everyday and ordinary situations. So what Whitman wants to say is that everything is a miracle, right? Okay. As regards Musée des Beaux-Arts, this is a poem I love, and I would recommend you to look in internet for the picture of that is being described in that poem. Musée des Beaux-Arts is about suffering, right? About human suffering and how it very often goes unnoticed. What is the subject matter of a poem? It's about a man that explains that the old masters, that he means the painters, were good at interpreting and representing human suffering in their works of art, and how human suffering goes unnoticed, but most of us in our daily lives. This is what he says in the first stanza. And in the second stanza, he explains the painting by Bruegel, which is called The Fall of Icarus, in which he says, in the painting, you can see on the right corner the legs of a person that has just fallen into the sea, and there is a ship going by, and there are people working the land that do not notice that someone has fallen into the water. So, this is an example of intertext, but again, intertextuality is based on or relies on the reader's familiarity with the text it's making reference to. So if you have never heard about the painting by Bruegel that you can see in this museum in Belgium, then you will never see the intertext. So, second stanza, then it says, in Bruegel's Icarus, for instance, how everything turns away quite leisurely from the disaster, and then he will start describing the painting. The ploughman may have heard the splash, the forsaken cry, but for him it was not an important failure. The sun shone, you will see the sun in the picture, as it had to on the white legs disappearing into the green. You will see on the right hand of the picture the legs. And the expensive, delicate ship, which is what you can see at the background of a picture that must have seen something amazing, a boy falling out of the sky, had somewhere to get to and sailed calmly on. So not even the ship would stop to save the man. All right? Good. I think that's all. These are all the poems you have chosen, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. Yeah. All right. So, which are the activities for next week? Next week, you have a book that is called Essay Writing. I want you to read the book in detail, very carefully and thoroughly, because there you have an explanation on how to write a good essay. And then I have uploaded a sample essay for you to have in mind before you submit your own essays. Make sure you do the theoretical reading first and follow the activities with the deadlines that are set on the page. You will notice that in the classes, you have what is that we are going to see this week, and then you have the same label as week 3 for the activities. And those are the activities you are supposed to do next week. Remember that if you are promocionales, you're supposed to comply with activities within the deadlines. I won't consider those submissions after the deadline, right? And honestly, I'm not sure whether I will be having time to give feedback on those who submit later, because while I'm answering questions in the forum and correcting, I'm preparing the classes for the following weeks. I know it's not easy for you. It's neither easy for me. We are all learning, but I think we are going to make a good experience. We are going to learn much more as if we were in virtual classes. Okay, see you next time. Until next time I send you feedback or I have a class in video.